You know, this isn't just a story about two car companies. Not really. What we're diving into here are two totally different industrial philosophies that have, no joke, shaped the world we live in, from the stuff we buy to the way we all work. Okay, let's get into it. So it all boils down to this one huge question. If you want to dominate an industry, is it better to build at an absolutely massive scale or to obsessively, relentlessly perfect every single tiny step of the process? That's the real tension we're going to explore.
All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll meet the titans who kicked this all off. Then, we'll dig into the great divide between their manufacturing ideas. After that, we'll see how they survived some of history's worst crises. And finally, we'll look at how they're tackling the massive revolution happening right now.
So let's set the stage. On one side, you've got Henry Ford. He's in this booming post-industrial revolution America, and he has this wild vision to make cars affordable for literally everyone. Then, on the other side of the world, you have Kenichiro Toyota in a resource-strapped Japan. And his family's business? It didn't start with cars, but with automated looms for textiles. I mean, you couldn't imagine two more different starting points.
Okay, now we get to the absolute heart of it all. The two revolutionary manufacturing systems that didn't just define these companies. They basically wrote the rule book for the entire 20th century.
First up, Fordism. Henry Ford's big idea was nothing short of genius. He thought, what if we use mass production to build cars so cheap that we can also pay our workers enough to create a whole new class of people who can actually buy them? It was this perfect, self-fueling economic engine.
And this is what powered that engine. Back in 1913, the moving assembly line was like something out of science fiction. By bringing the car to the worker and making every task identical, Ford crushed the assembly time for Model T from over 12 hours down to just 90 minutes. This one innovation is what put a car in every driveway.
But there was a massive problem. The work was so mind-numbingly repetitive that in 1913, Ford's employee turnover was a staggering 370%. Can you imagine? So that famous $5 a day wage, it wasn't just him being a nice guy. It was a killing business move to stop the bleeding, keep his workers, and make sure that line never stopped moving. Now, let's flip to the complete opposite philosophy, one that was born from a totally different reality. The Toyota way wasn't created in a time of plenty. It came from scarcity. Its entire reason for being was to eliminate every single bit of waste, to build quality in from step one, and to never, ever make a part before it was actually needed. Taiichi Ohno, the guy who basically designed the whole system, he summed it up perfectly. Just in time meant they didn't waste money and space building cars they just hoped someone would buy. And automation, that's automation with a human touch, was the real game changer. It meant any worker could pull a cord and stop the entire production line to fix a problem right then and there. And when you put them side by side like this, the difference is just crystal clear. Ford used a push system. They'd build a mountain of cars based on a forecast and then try to sell them. Toyota used a pull system. They only built a car when a customer ordered one. At Ford, a worker did one repetitive task. At Toyota, their job was to spot and solve problems. And look at the inventory. Ford had huge stockpiles just in case, while Toyota had almost nothing, getting parts just in time. You know, you don't really know what a company or a philosophy is made of when times are good. Its true character comes out when a crisis hits. And how these two companies survived, well, it tells you everything you need to know. Just look at this timeline. It's 2006. That's 2 full years before the global financial crisis blew up the world economy. Ford's new CEO, Alan Mulally, makes this incredibly gutsy bet. He mortgaged everything, the factories, the brands, even the iconic blue oval logo itself, for a massive private loan. So when the market crashed in '08, Ford had a war chest full of cash while its rivals went bankrupt and begged for bailouts. It was this incredible preemptive strike that saved the company. Toyota's defining moment, though, happened way earlier, but it was just as deep. In 1950, the company was so close to collapsing, it couldn't even pay its workers. This near-death experience wasn't just a tough time. It became the bedrock event that shaped the company's entire culture for the next 70-plus years. And what you've got to understand here is that for Toyota, this crisis wasn't an obstacle. It was the catalyst. Not being able to make payroll, that forced the extreme efficiency that became just in time. The banks demanding change, that created discipline. The founder resigning, that cemented a culture of ultimate accountability.
It's what gave Taiichi Ono the power to turn waste elimination from a nice idea into an absolute survival tactic. It forged their greatest weapon. So how does all that history translate to today? How is each company's fundamental DNA, Ford's big, bold bets versus Toyota's cautious, continuous improvement, guiding them through this insane transition to electric vehicles and software-driven cars?
This table really just leaves it all out. Ford is being classic Ford, right? They're making these huge all-in bets on specific EVs, like the Mustang Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning. And Toyota, they're being classic Toyota. They're pursuing what they call a multipathway approach, developing hybrids, EVs, and even hydrogen fuel cells all at the same time. It's all about managing risk. Even their side projects tell the story. Ford is building a practical battery business. Toyota is building an entire experimental city.
And this right here, this is the payoff for Toyota's long, patient game. Because they've been working on hybrids for decades. Today, nearly half of all the cars they sell around the world are already electrified in some way. That's a massive head start in a market where going all in on pure EVs is proving to be a bit bumpy. And meanwhile, Ford's core idea of high-volume dominance, it's alive and well in their commercial truck division, Ford Pro. I mean, look at this. A mind-blowing 42% market share. That's almost as big as their next two competitors combined. This is the modern-day Model T. It's the profitable, no-nonsense workhorse that's funding all of the company's big bets on the future.
So we end up right back where we started. Ford's story is one of moving fast, making gigantic bets, and sometimes making gigantic mistakes. Toyota's story is one of moving right, one small, relentless improvement at a time. In an age of total disruption like this one, which philosophy is going to build the next 100 years? That's the big question.